Do I feel a little guilty I'm only bringing you 5 palettes instead of 10? A little bit. Recently I did a video on my top 10 basic AF, basic B eyeshadow palettes, and I wanted to bring you today my top 5 glam palettes. These are the 5 palettes that I reach for when I want a little bit extra look, when I want a little bit elevated look, when I'm feeling a little bit glam. So before we jump into the 5 palettes, I like to start with an outfit of the day. So I just got this new dress from Amazon. Okay, cute. I'm still wearing my slippers because that's life. So this is the dress. It's kind of, I think it's called like the tennis dress or something, but it's cute. I like the neckline. I like the straps. It has like a little skirt underneath, so it's also lined. My only gripe with this is that in the photo it looks beige and online it says beige. This is white. Like, I don't know who we're trying to fool here. This is a white dress, and I just don't love wearing white dresses. I feel like they're just gonna get dirty. Like, I have a dinner date with my girlfriend tonight. I'm like, should I wear this? I'm afraid I'm going to like spill a giant plate of nachos right on this dress, but it's fine. But I will link everything down below. Got some new earrings. I'll link everything I'm wearing down below, as well as my makeup, and I will link that top 10 basic AF eyeshadow palette video as well. But while I was doing that video, I mentioned in there a specific palette, which I'll jump into first. And I was like, you know, I thought about this palette, but I was like, no, that's what I reach for when I want my more glam moments, when I want my more like pow pow. And I thought, well, why don't I do glam palettes as well? And I was reaching through my collection and I was thinking about doing 10, but I will say I am more basic AF. In a video recently I did new makeup releases this week, I talk about how I feel like my style is a little bit more like lazy girl makeup. Okay, busy AF makeup, okay, if you will. And I saw someone comment to say that she also feels that she has lazy girl makeup syndrome, if you will. But she likes to call it busy bee makeup because she's like always on the run as well, so just like trying to do makeup as fast as she can. And I was like, yes, I get it. So I feel like it definitely makes sense that I had more palettes in that video. So I wanted to just keep it to 5, my like top 5 glam palettes for this video. But then I also thought about doing my top, I feel like it would be 5 colorful palettes as well. So let me know if you want to see that. I'm not a huge colorful wearer, and when I do wear color, I often do it in a monochromatic way and sometimes in a little bit softer way than like a lot of color. But I still thought that could be a fun one too. So let me know if you want to see that one. We have this little like eyeshadow palette series going on. But like I said, in that basic AF video, I was talking about the Anastasia Beverly Hills Sultry palette. This is my favorite Anastasia palette, for sure. I love this one, and I've loved it for a very long time. I love the sparkly packaging, all the things. But this is definitely a palette that is, I mean, I would say this is a more neutral palette. It's definitely a more cool tone palette. But this is not something that I go into because I want a basic look. Again, in that eyeshadow palette video, I was saying it's not even necessarily the palettes that are basic. It's when I want my basic go-to fast, easy, everyday type of look, these are the palettes that I'm reaching for. And this is just not it. I go into my sultry for like special occasions, fun events, New Year's Eve. This is the palette that I wore on New Year's Eve the last 2 years now. I have worn this palette on New Year's Eve because it just gives me those vibes. It makes me feel sultry, if you will, but it makes me feel like special. It makes me feel glam. It makes me want to put like my shiny sparkly earrings on that Rare Beauty gave me that are in my initials, and all of my jewelry and false lashes even. I mean, this palette like makes me want to go all out, and it's just so beautiful. The mattes are easy to use, but it's really the shimmers in this palette that make it so special. I especially love Cyborg. I go into that a lot. I've realized something that sometimes too, when it comes to my glam looks, I tend to go not even just for like a neutral glam look, but like this right here. I have a palette coming up that also plays into this color scheme. I go for this a lot, but also some of these shimmers, like Pearl has quite a big dent into it. Cinder is a beautiful like bronzy shimmery shade. Even Teak Rose Quartz also has a nice dip into it as well. This is a beautiful palette. Like I said, it's my favorite from Anastasia. I don't think that you can get it anymore. I think this was limited edition. I feel like that's like my #1 glam palette, to be quite honest. Let's just end the video here. Just one. Just one palette. I'm just kidding. I'll keep going. Okay, so next up, like I said, kind of along that color scheme theme that I enjoy so much, the Colourpop Smoke Show. Okay, so this, I don't know if this was in stock anymore either, because I just mentioned this in a video recently as well, but it's been renamed to the Blowin Smoke. This also makes me think of glam looks, and again, something about this color scheme, I don't know if it's like, it's because it's a little bit out of my comfort zone, I'm not sure, but something about like a cool toned grayish look with some silver in there, or like more of like a really black on the outer edge, or a really dark smoky eye, lower lash line even. It just like hits me in my feels. And this palette, of course, I've told the story a million times, but this is the palette that I wore during the American Influencer Awards in 2019, and I won in my category. And so obviously that was a very glam night. There was, well, I think it was like a pink carpet, but there was, you know, the carpet, there was Kim Kardashian was there, and all these other celebrities, all of like the biggest YouTubers and Instagrammers and fashion people, like all of that. So obviously it was very glam. I showed up in an express dress and heels, did my own hair and makeup. I used this like $12 palette from Colourpop, and I was like, I'm glam too. Here I am. But something about like this color scheme just like hits me with those glam feels. So I for sure had to mention the Smoke Show palette. And one more that's kind of along that color scheme too. I mentioned Kaleidos in my basic AF palettes, and I mentioned the Cold Brew palette. But this one is their Black Jasmine. So again, it's from that same collection, and you just have the quad here. But look how stunning this is too. So if you don't want something as big as the Sultry, and even if you don't want the 9-pan of the Smoke Show, like boom, you can just have your little cool toned quad here, this beautiful silver shimmer, like that silvery, like bluish shimmer is just like the key. It is the key to some of these glam looks for me, okay? But then you have your matte black, you have the like gray and the bluish tones here. So stunning. I really enjoyed the Kaleidos formula as well, but these little quads from this collection, and again, like I said in my last video, love this packaging on these too, but they just like hit it home with that collection. So I had to mention the Black Jasmine. This next palette I have been using and enjoying so much. I have almost hit pan in multiple shades, okay? So this is from Huda Beauty. This is the Empowered palette. I did mention this in my top 3 in every category eyes edition, because I just keep reaching for this palette and just keep reaching for this palette. But this is one that I go to for the glam looks as well, especially because of the shimmers in here are so beautiful. I have a huge dip in Limitless. There's a really nice dip in Charisma as well. Also Do It and Bold Move, but Manifest It, which is this like cream shade, you can almost see the bottom of the pan in that one, which has me like super impressed with myself, because I do not pay on eyeshadow shades, okay? That is very rare for me. Like the mattes are really beautiful in here too, but I also love that you have this black cream shade, and pretty much every time I go into this palette I always end up creating a wing, which to me just is a little bit more on the glam side as well. Like when I am going for a basic look, it's like 1 eyeshadow, maybe like at the most I'm usually doing is like 3 eyeshadows, but when I am creating a wing with that cream shadow, it's like, okay, it's go time, like something fun is happening here. But again, going back to some of these shimmers, I feel like they just elevate a look so much. So especially, you know, I kind of mentioned some of those more cool tone palettes and the grayish tones in here. I love wearing gold. Gold is like, I mean, I have a lot of gold jewelry on. Like I have some shoes that have more of like the gold detailing on them. I just wear gold all of the time, so I love to match my eye makeup with it too. And these are the ones that I was going into for those really like glam gold eyeshadow looks. So the Huda Beauty Empowered, this was a surprising palette, especially if I do hit pan in even just 1 shade, but multiple shades, I will be like, get down with your bad self, girl. Okay, and then another one, I went kind of back and forth on like, do I want to include this in color or do I want to include this in glam? But I ended up going with glam, and it's from Natasha Denona. My favorite eyeshadow formula is Natasha Denona, and this one is the Love palette. I feel like I don't talk about the Love as much anymore on my channel because I love the retro so much, the glam palette so much, but man, the The Love palette is beautiful, and once again, one of the shades I really do love from here is in Blind, which is kind of that silvery shade. So again, I have like this thing with those silver shades. I also love to just put the shade Heart all over my eyes and do a really beautiful red look. Again, that's why I kind of thought about putting this in my color video, was specifically for that red shade. But truly, there's some beautiful mattes in here that I love to then put the Blind, that silver on top, and it just makes such a cool like pop of color. Transparent has a huge dip in it. That is such a beautiful shade. This Lifetime is a really nice bronzy shimmer. I love the color scheme in here. Again, I do think I could have easily put this in the color palette as well, but I reached for this for like, I guess like a colorful glam look, if you will. Again, colorful on my terms. But even some of the purples in here, like you can create a really beautiful monochromatic purple look. This palette is so beautiful. This was like my #1 palette from Natasha for a minute there, and then the retro came out and it dethroned it. But I still think there are some beautiful glam looks that you can get with the Love palette. I thought about mentioning the Glam Face and Eye, but I feel like that one, while I can create glam looks, I still feel like it's a little bit more, like I would still reach into it for more of my basic looks, if you will. But again, Natasha, a favorite formula. She has a new palette releasing soon. I touched on it in my new makeup releases video last week, and I'm really excited for it. I do have a discount code with Natasha. It is Samantha. You get 15% off, and that one is an affiliate code. But I'm really excited. I decided, I talked myself into it. I'm buying the mini Starlet palette. I'm just gonna get it. So I will be doing a video once I do get that one. But that is everything. This is a pretty quick video. My top 5 glam eyeshadow palettes. I would love to know yours. Let me know if you want to see that video on color palettes as well, and I can definitely do it. And I'll see you in the next one.